All right. Hello and good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Off the Cuff with Dustin Heisey. Guys, I'm super excited about today's show. We got an awesome guest today. He's a good friend of mine. He's a tintype artist, Rob Gibson. I mean, this guy is traveling the United States of America, and I believe I've been saying a 1938 package truck. I think it's a 1934. I could have been wrong about that. He's in a 1934 package truck traveling the United States. I mean, this is cool. You should see the inside of this. Maybe we'll get Rob to give us a little bit of a tour of the inside of this thing. It is so cool what he's done with this. So, guys, I'd really appreciate it if you could head over to facebook.com and check out BB3 TV over there. It's your place for variety entertainment. There's gamers over there. There's paranormal stuff. There's all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's entertainment galore. Go check us out over there and follow us. Please also, youtube.com, follow us over there. The same thing. It's BB3 TV. So we definitely appreciate all the likes and the shares and stuff like that. So if you could please do that, hit that share button, get this thing out there, and let's share the wealth. So guys, when we come back here, we're going to get this thing show on the road, and super excited to bring Rob into the show and get this. All right, here we go. We are with Rob Gibson. Rob, man, it's good to see you, brother. You left brother. How long have you been out there now? It's been a while.
I'm on day 98. 98 days on the road. Yep.
And you know what, dude? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I've been following your writing. And by the way, your writing is just as interesting. Like everything you're doing, your stories are awesome. But like you've really had some challenges, like the truck breaking down, like freezing your ass off in the back of that thing. I mean, just tell us a little bit about how this has been going for you, man.
Yeah, well, thank you, Dustin. First of all, thank you so much for having me again. And I really gotta comment on your professionalism and how well you're doing with all this. I mean, I'm so impressed by how far you've come with this, and I just wanted to put it out there. And congratulations, brother, on a great show.
Oh,
and I think you're really on your way to something great here. So thank you.
I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. And there is a bit of a delay here from Santa Fe, so we might interrupt each other once in a while here. So I hope the folks at home, can bear with that. But yeah, I've been on the road for close to 100 days, and it's been one hell of a journey. It's certainly found out a lot about myself and about my likes and dislikes, and it's amazing the people that I've met along the way. So all kinds of crazy experiences. Sometimes I've been down to nothing money-wise, and somehow through supporters online and the good Lord, and I've been able to survive, and I am doing spectacular, I guess you would say. So yes, I absolutely love it out here.
That's fantastic. Like, we go back a few years, and I've worked on several projects with you. Started with that motorcycle sidecar. That was amazing. Just the ideas that you come up with are so freaking cool and creative. I just can't believe that you haven't had your own show on the Travel Channel yet. Like, what are these guys waiting for?
Who knows? It could happen. At my age, it's amazing that, I just never give up. I just keep going. And I might get knocked down, but, I'll pick myself up, dust myself off, and try the next thing, and I'll tell you, the last couple of years were tough, COVID and all that other stuff. And somehow we persevered. And when I had gone through my last relationship, we'll just say, I don't want to get into all that, but I ended up in West Virginia, far away from Gettysburg. And I was like, do I really want to move back and do the same thing I've been doing for 20 years, or here is a chance to absolutely reinvent myself again. I've done that many times in my life. And the one thing is, and I'm in a position where I have no children. I've got two ex-wives that, one of them is still friendly with me. And I only have to take care of myself. So because of that, you can take a lot of risks. And this was certainly a risk, being on a road like this. But it's been a voyage of discovery, if you will. And I've been able to, I think, turn a lot of people on to what I do with my vintage photography. And I'm just starting to break into some new stuff that I'm really excited about. and it'll be the best work of my lifetime. So, yeah, I've
Oh, that's
never
awesome.
quit growing. I've never quit learning. It's okay to suck at something. It's okay to start out brand new and go in and go, hey guys, I want to do this. I don't know anything about it. Can you teach me? And 99% of the time, people will teach you, and doors will open. So I think if you're going down the right path in life, certainly doors are opening along the way. And conversely, when you're not, that's where you start to see all these problems creep up, and they keep coming and coming and coming. And, you're just not on the right path. Maybe it's time just to take a right turn and take a journey down a completely different path, and maybe those doors will just start flying open for you. So I've been fortunate that I figured that out.
Yeah, but it's not easy. Think about it. Like for somebody like me, I have a house and I do have children. So for somebody like me, it's a little bit more complicated. But even if I didn't have kids, think about it this way. How scary is it to just completely uproot yourself, take yourself away from everything that you know, and just boom, you're out on the road in a 1934 package truck.
Yeah.
That's a scary situation. You just don't know what's going to happen from day to day.
No, you don't. And I think, you have enough confidence in yourself, and you have enough confidence in the journey that you're on. In other words, deep down in your heart, this is what you're supposed to do. And when you get to that point in your life, you just throw caution to the wind and go, yeah, it's scary and it's dangerous. And, but what's more dangerous? Sitting home in front of the TV, eating chips every day, drinking soft drinks. And, next thing you know, you're 25 years older and 50 pounds heavier,
Mm-hmm.
and and I got to that point too, I lost a lot of weight in the last year or two, but I think we become complacent and we forget that life is supposed to be exciting. Life is supposed to be a journey of learning, of discovery, and it's the interactions with people. And I've met spectacular people along the way everywhere in the country. It seems like Santa Fe is a magnet for creatives, for especially people that are over 40 or 50. It's amazing how many people are here, that there's a scene of, it's like that movie Cocoon, where all those folks were swimming and they, it's like the Fountain of Youth. That's what it's like here, as weird as it sounds, and then I go to other towns, like I went to Albuquerque, staying at my buddy's house, and it's like, all right, I'm going to go out and, see the town, have me a beer or something. And it's all kids. And that's where it is 99% of the place. You go out to clubs and all that. It's all geared towards younger people. You come here, and I shouldn't be saying this because I don't want to let this big secret out, but I want my friends to know that there is a place out here that there is life after 50 years old, man. And there's tons of people that are creative, that are articulate, that are adventurous, and they're embracing life. And I see that whether it's in the arts, whether it's in history, whether it's in music, the culinary side of things. And I've never seen another place like it than Santa Fe. So yeah, absolutely.
That sounds awesome. My experience with the Midwest, West, whatever you want to call it, Colorado, I spent weeks out there for driving school, and I absolutely fell in love with the place. It's just so completely different from, you're from like Rochester, right? Up in New York.
Buffalo, actually. Buffalo,
you're from
New
Buffalo.
York.
Go Bills, baby. And,
yeah.
You're from the East, and the mentality of people, the just attitude of people. When you step away from the Northeast, it's night and day. Well, it's like you get hellos, hey, how you doing? And it's like they genuinely care when they say that stuff to you. Or here, it's like, how you doing? It's F you.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, and not to put down any place. People are different,
sure.
But Buffalo was like that. When I left Buffalo and I went to Rochester, okay, it was a little more, let's just say, conservative in, and I'm not talking politics. I mean conservative in people being outgoing. Buffalo was more blue collar. Hey, man, that's a cool truck, whatever, and people would just, you would embrace each other. There, everybody was very friendly. I don't know what it's like now, but that was, 50 years ago, it was like that. I went down to Gettysburg, and things were very different. People were much more reserved. And I don't think it's a meanness or people are snobby. I think they're shy, and that's the difference. Here, people are outgoing. It's like everybody's an actor or something, you know? And
Really?
people will just come up and start conversations with you. And I don't mean just because of my cool truck. You know, that happens anyhow. But I'll be in a bar and, you know, men, women will approach you and just start talking to you, you know? So it's very, very different than anywhere else I've gone. So it's never been easier to meet people. Perfect example today. I went to a coffee shop this morning called Iconic. It's a great little trendy place. And it's right around this area of artist studios that were all old X-Factory things that were converted. And I parked next to this white car, and parking is tough. So, I mean, this thing is hard anyhow. So I was sort of pretty close to this other white car, little Toyota Corolla. So I happened to be walking out at the same time this older woman was walking out. Now she was, I don't know, she wasn't that old, but I mean, she was older. And I says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I parked so close." "Oh, no." She says, "That's fine." She says, "What vintage is this?" And I said, 1934. And she said, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing." And we started talking. And within minutes, we were old friends. I did a selfie with her. She sat in the front of the truck. I did a photograph of her sitting in the front of the truck to send to her sons. She's 78 years old. She just published her first book of poetry. And I've got a copy of it here. She signed for me. But that happens
awesome.
every day. Every day you meet people like that just, you know, older people that are just embracing life and just are full of passion, you know. And I think a lot of people were burned out before they came here. And whether it was burned out through relationships or burned out from where they were living or the career they had, because it's one of those three brings them here. And once they get here, they find there's an energy. This place is magic. I mean, the Native Americans knew that hundreds and hundreds, 400, 500 years ago, they knew that. And it's still there today in this land. And, you know, like I said, I keep saying it's unlike anywhere else, but I've never seen another place like it. And the weather is beautiful. Right now, we got to worry about wildfires. They're outside of town and it's a little bit smoky, and it might even affect our connection here a little bit. But it's since I've been here about 5 weeks. I think it might have rained one day, maybe. I mean, we don't get any rain here. So that's why you got the wildfires and everything else going on.
So it's pretty dry out there. But,
yes.
You know, I mean, take it for what it is. It's still nice. I mean, you know, I loved Colorado. Colorado was pretty dry the whole time I was out there. But, you know, just like I said, the people were incredible. The views were incredible. Just the experience was so completely different than what we're used to over here. But, hey, guys, really quick before we continue, you guys, if you'll take a look here at the bottom of the screen, you see help support Rob's journey by donating to PayPal, tintypeartist@gmail.com, and Cash App is Journeyman1934. Guys, this is how he survives. Anything helps. And it doesn't matter if it's $5, $10, $100, $1,000. I mean, anything would help him. And
that's so kind.
You know,
thank you.
Definitely
and
appreciate
it. I literally, people have saved me from the brink, you know, where it's like, man, I'm down to $20 in my pocket, and I put, you know, I got to put gas in the tank, and you know what that costs. This thing gets about 14 miles to the gallon, and you know, I can live. One nice thing is if I land somewhere and I'm stuck, I could stay in this for a while. You know, I mean, but still, I got to pay for food, and thank goodness I have a Planet Fitness subscription. So not only can I go work out, but I got a place to shower all the time. So that works really well. But yeah, life on the road is certainly a challenge.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, but look, I mean, you're living in the back of a truck that was built in 1934. So how hard would it be for you right now to kind of give us a little tour of the inside of your truck?
I'll see if I can just, rather than try to unhook the camera, let me just sort of spin this around. All right, I'm sitting on my bed. All right, I'll try flipping the camera. Let's try this.
Yeah, StreamYard doesn't make that easy. I complain about it on my lives all the time.
All right, hang on a minute. Front facing. Let's try that. Can you see anything, or are you seeing me again?
I still see you. Yeah.
All right, how about now?
There we go.
All right, I'm going to turn it Well, no, I'll leave it this way or it might screw up everybody. Okay, so that little roll top thing you see here, this is my dark room. So this is where I develop the pictures. And it's going to be hard to do this one-handed. See all that material? That comes out, and that actually goes over my head. And I hate it because it messes up my hair. But so be it. All right, so there's the dark room in there. There you can just see a little bit. Okay, here's the back doors. And I am at, right now I'm in Artist Row here. Canyon Road, they call it, which is... well, I'm amongst $1 million galleries. And literally, this is my backyard. I don't know how much you can see because I'm not seeing much here at all.
I can see it. Yeah, it looks pretty neat looking.
Pretty good? Okay. Yeah. This is where I park every night. Over here is my food area. So, I've got stuff like this, balance brakes and my cashew nuts. I got a bunch of bottled water laying around. I got my little sink if I need it. There's my little lantern I'll turn on. There's the front of the truck. You can see there. I made sure I didn't wear the cowboy hat today because people are starting to think I was losing my hair or something. It's a lot easier with the wind, Here's some of the details up here that I've put up here, curtains and that. So yeah, I close this off. I have a back curtain that I close off, and it's like a little cocoon in here. So
how hard would it be to show us the outside?
What's that?
Can you show us the outside of the truck, or would that be too tough?
No, I can do that. Let me hop
Where do you guys see this? Where do you guys see this truck? This is cool. This is cool.
So we're stepping out back now. This is small. It's smaller than a normal van. There you go. You can see it.
There you go.
There's the back.
Now you have a perspective of how tight it is in there for him, actually.
Yeah.
Look at this thing.
So that is the size of a Volkswagen bus, I guess, So, and these are not decoration. These are my extra gas cans because my gas gauge doesn't work. Here's the front. So it's got a really sinister front end. And if you ever saw that ZZ Top video, legs and give me all your lovin', they had a 34 Ford. So it's very similar. This is first year for the Dodge Ram. So there he is. And if you see, this says actually Dodge Brothers. And a lot of people think that's Jewish Star. Actually, what it was, I had to do some research on it because that's what it looked like to me. The Dodge Brothers were not Jewish. They were, I don't know, Presbyterian, I believe. But that is actually signed for Delta, the Greek sign Delta, and it's two D's interlocked. So the two triangles interlocked was for the two brothers. Marty Mummert, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, did my spectacular paint work. And then I made sure he signed it in 1934. One thing that I love about this is suicide doors. And let me see I don't know if I got it locked or not, but here we go. Okay, so that's the way the doors open. I'll back up so you can see here.
That's really awesome.
So there you go. The windshield tilts out. That's my air conditioning. You see when I'm doing something in the back, I got to move all my camber gear to the front here. Yeah, it's been
does
great.
That hurt?
Original license plate, 1934 PA.
That's awesome. Now, how uncomfortable is it to drive that truck for hours and hours at a time?
It's not too bad. I get used to it. I mean, it certainly helps my arms with a workout, when you're doing, it's not going fast, it's going slow when you're turning corners and that kind of thing. I'm fighting with the tripod now, so give me 1 second and I'll flip the camera back around.
Oh, that's okay. While you're doing that, I'm going to put a comment up here. Tom said, I would actually like to go on the road and film little towns all over the country. Of course, that won't be until the far future when my channel is big. And then Tom's got jokes. So Tom, apparently, I know all about how much it sucks when your hair gets messed up. Tom's got jokes.
All right, there we go. All right, we're back.
That's why I always wear a hat.
Thank goodness. There we go.
Thank you for the tour, man. I mean, that is the coolest thing ever.
Thanks for having me.
What the heck, dude? What possesses you to think I could just travel the country and live out of the back of this old ass truck? I mean, like, that's a ballsy move.
Yeah. It's weird, Dustin. I knew that I was different from everybody else a long time ago. I knew that as a kid. And for some reason I have this uncontrollable passion of history, and it's way beyond reading books. It's no, I want to experience it. I want to time travel, well, I'm still working on the time machine, but I've always, I don't know. I think when you get to a point, it's almost like you're, I don't want to say chosen, but this is my mission in life. I realize that now. My mission is to go out there and do something to celebrate the past, and it includes vintage photography. And I've always been this huge fan of the 20s, 30s, 40s. I always thought that was like the best era in history. And yeah, of course, people say, well, you had the Depression, you had, World War I, World War II. And well, yes, obviously you had all those things. But I think it was an incredible time visually. I think there would have been no place better than Paris after World War I, to experience that. Probably my favorite movie is Midnight in Paris, which is spectacular. If anybody loves history and you love art, it's basically Owen Wilson having to go to some family function in Paris with his wife, and he's bored to death, and he's all about the art and the history and all these other things. And she could care less, she's all about the society stuff and all. So he starts wandering around town at midnight, and one day an old taxi pulls around a corner, and these people are saying, come on, join us. And he jumps in, and that's his portal to the past. And somehow he's transported to 1920s Paris, and he's with F. Scott Fitzgerald and Hemingway and Gertrude Stein and, all these great composers and artists. And I thought, man, what a magical moment. If I could do that, I'd go in a second. I would say goodbye to this world in a heartbeat, and I'd be back there. But, I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So maybe I can bring some of that 20s, 30s to other people, and I can sort of live in my own little, I don't know, what's the word I want, in my head, that, all right, I'm going down some deserted road in the middle of the night, and I got, Billie Holiday playing, and for that little split moment, it's sort of like reenacting. But it's way beyond that because you're living the life. And I think that's the difference,
Yeah, but you're doing it. Like, you're actually doing it. I mean, how different is it really from the reality? I mean, you're really doing it. So that's a cool experience. I mean, and like you said, you mentioned reenacting. As a reenactor, like doing the Civil War and World War II reenacting, we're trying to, and inside the community, we call it seeing the elephant. We want to experience it so much. We want to be immersed in it so much that we actually feel that we are living in that moment for real. And, how better a way to do that, dude, than like chilling in a 1934 package truck, like cruising the United States. Dude, like, you've done some cool stuff. You've already been to Dallas. Like, a history nerd. You've been to where JFK was assassinated, and not to mention, just Rob is a very, up on the JFK assassination.
Student of it, we'll say, student of the assassination. Yeah.
And one of these days, I'm going to do a show literally just about conspiracies. That's going to be one, and I'd love to have you come back on and talk about.
Oh, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Your knowledge of the JFK assassinations is mind blowing. So I would love to do that. But what was it like to step into that square, dude? And just stand there.
Unlike anything else I've ever done, which is weird because I wasn't expecting what happened to happen. I've been to Gettysburg. I remember going to Gettysburg as a kid. I cried because I didn't want to go home. I just thought it was the greatest place on earth. But you got to remember, I was born in 1958. I actually saw JFK when he was alive. As a little kid, I was 2 years old. My dad took me to, there was a area downtown Lockport, New York, and he was campaigning. And the reason why he campaigned there was the guy that was running for running against him, Barry Goldwater, I believe it was. His running mate was a guy named William Miller, Bill Miller, and he was from Lockport, New York. Matter of fact, I went to school with his kid. So that was a Republican nomination for president in 1960 and vice president. So this was sort of like a, FU kind of thing where JFK went to Bill Miller's hometown, and it was packed there. And it was like one of my earliest childhood memories. I was up on my dad's shoulders and, close to the little reviewing stand they had where he gave us a speech. You got to remember, he's
That's
just
incredible.
a senator then. But I remembered that, And when that assassination happened, my mom was so into that where she didn't believe any of the stuff that was coming out. I mean, my mom was a brilliant woman. She really was. She never finished high school. She never went to college. She never even, the only time she had a job was when my dad was off during the war. But she was a housewife her whole life. But she was like into Egyptology and all this other stuff. And, she was fascinated by that stuff. And she always said, JFK thing, she said, I don't believe any of it. She goes, I know there was something else going on there. And then a guy named Mark Lane came on that, was one of the first conspiracy theorists. And actually the CIA made up that name for all the people that believed that there was something, that there was another truth besides the Warren Report about the official records of how the assassination went down. So, and I think it was from as a kid watching these shows. I didn't understand a lot of what they were saying, but I got it. And then it went away for a while. And then one night I was watching Geraldo Rivera in like 1980s, and they showed the Zapruder film for the first time. And suddenly all my interest came right back. And to go to Dealey Plaza after, seeing all that and the JFK movies and all the different documentaries and everything else, and going, it was so emotional. It really was. I cried like a baby. I don't know why. It just hit me.
Oh, wow.
It really did. And what's really interesting to me, and which is more telling of what we've been taught not being truthful, is that you go anywhere in the country, any place of historical significance, and usually the National Park Service has a presence there. You can go to Susan B. Anthony's house where she lived in Rochester, New York. They own that, So you go to Dealey Plaza, and here is the event, the most pivotal event of our lifetime.
Right.
The assassination of our president. It's not a national park. It's not owned by the National Park Service. It's not Texas School Book Depository isn't protected against anything. It's one private museum up there on the 6th floor, and the rest of it's just a regular building. Don't you think that's odd?
That is weird, but
there is no visitor center or something.
Why would that be? The government is the one who killed him.
I don't believe that. Well, elements of it, but yeah.
I mean, isn't that what you think, though?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think that. And I'm not saying everybody was complicit, but I think there was certainly rogue elements there. And I think the bigger thing that happened was the government was in on covering it up.
Yeah,
I think after the fact, they're like, "Oh shit, we can't let this cat out of the bag. We'll have riots in the street. We'll have a world war." So
one of the things that ticks me off the most, is looking at some of the photographs of Johnson in Air Force One being sworn in, and you see these guys winking at him and smiling.
Oh yeah,
Kennedy was just brutally murdered. He was brutally murdered. It was public and brutal. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can have all your theories about snipers wear, Grassy Knoll, the Daltech building, the sewer, there's a million different, there's a million different versions of that. And we'll never know what the correct version is. But to me, somebody that's the most trustworthy person in the world is a medical doctor. Okay, these people have taken an oath. They're there to preserve life. And when you can look at the photographs of every single doctor and nurse that worked on JFK, and they're all going like this, where this part of the head is missing. And yet you look at a Zapruder film, this part of the head comes off. Why? You know, I've done enough with old photographs. I know you can do all kinds of stuff, and they
Oh,
could in
sure.
1960s. You know what I mean? Why do you think it
Hmm.
was years before that was actually shown? You know?
Well, they had to doctor. They had to do their work on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And not to mention, it was a very brutal film to be just putting it out there,
Oh,
especially in that time.
absolutely.
You know,
I mean, and that
it,
was the proof they didn't count on, so they had to change some things about that too. But that's a whole nother
mhm.
show.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
I'm
so.
kind of curious as a photographer, what's your opinion? Okay, jumping around a little bit, and we're history nerds and both photo guys, and you
Okay.
have your own theory on the harvest of death. So I'm curious about this. Do you think those photographs of the harvest of death could have been altered in 1863?
They could have, but I don't know why they would be. They did all kinds of things back then with negatives, inner negatives, everything else. They weren't trying to hide anything. And this was not like Photoshop. It wasn't just shifting things around, this and that. If anything, things were enhanced to make them more sellable. That was the only reason. They weren't trying to hide anything. They were trying to
Mm,
make more money off of these things. So when you look at um, the image, the front image, the Timothy O'Sullivan big plate image of the Union soldiers in that V formation, and the guy in the very front with his mouth wide open, very grotesque looking. Um,
Rose Farm.
yeah, that no, the Harvest of Death one. I'm thinking. All right,
Oh,
where it's the
oh,
Union
okay.
soldiers. Yeah, okay, and the guy with his mouth open in the front. Um, the photographer is doing absolutely everything he can to feature that individual more than anybody else. That means he's bringing the camera low, he's tipping the camera, he's exposing it for those shadows. All right. Now remember, they're laying on the ground and it's gloomy out. He's trying to make the best possible print of not a good situation. I'm shooting 1930s film right now, and when I do that, I want the detail and the shadow to come out. So I'm trying to get as much information on that plate or on that piece of film as possible. That's why you look at the backgrounds, they're all so bright and blown out because he's exposing it for the guy down front. If he did this as a perfect picturesque scene, those men laying there would just look like black blobs. You wouldn't be able to tell if that was a man or a blanket laying there.
Yeah.
So this is why it looks the way it does. And I think it was one of those happy mistakes where, things just went right, even though it was a horrible situation. Not only a death and destruction, but from a photographic standpoint, it was a bad situation. It was misty. It was probably drizzling rain. There
Well, it
was,
poured the night before.
yes, and there was two horsemen in the distance, one sitting on a horse, the other one holding the horse. I mean, that happened naturally. I'm sure Gardner didn't say, hey, go out there about 100 yards and stand with your horse. No, they were out there trying to identify bodies or whatever,
Sure.
surveying the scene. So it just happened to be that was, through sheer luck, one of the best photographs of the Civil War. It's horrific, but I mean, from a technical standpoint, it turned out to be a really good photograph, even though
Yeah.
the whole background is blown out. So it wasn't that happened on purpose, that they were trying to hide something or,
Well, you see in that one photo, it looks like there's actual pencil sketches, and you guys can go to the Library of Congress
and
and just do a search
and there probably
and look
was.
at the stuff.
Yeah, and that was retouching. That was common. That was not,
Mhm.
let's draw in a horse. That was, hey, this is really light colored. Let's get in there and touch that up so in the print it'll be darker. Then what happens is the print fades, but the retouching doesn't. And that's why you see it looks a lot more like, in some cases, like some kid
Scribbles.
colored it almost. There's
Yeah.
a famous photograph of Matthew Brady. Looks like somebody put googly eyes on him. He's got like these, round glasses and dark eye. In 1860, it looked fantastic. In 2020, it looks terrible because the albumin print faded, but the retouching did not fade. So, yeah.
I mean, that is the technique it's so painstaking. People don't realize, like in today's cameras, you can pick up your cell phone and snap an image and you have it. It's instantaneous. It's perfect. It's clear. You can make all kinds of adjustments to it. You have to understand, like in the 1860s, when these guys were doing these photographs, first of all, it had poured July 4th into July 5th. It was 90 some degrees. So in the morning, it got really foggy, really misty. These are not ideal. Yeah, these are not ideal conditions for somebody who is using collodion and these types of chemicals that you have to pretty much build this photograph, the form. I mean, so it's just really neat. And I'm fascinated by the whole photography thing. Now I'm curious, man. So kind of getting back to this, how has being out on the road, like doing what you're doing, has it changed the way you do photography? I mean, has it changed your processes, or are you just kind of like instituting like just different types of things? Are you still doing wet plate photography?
I'm still doing wet plate. I'm still doing tintypes. I'm really putting an emphasis towards this more vintage 20s, 30s stuff though. And the reason is, as a photographer, I'm trying to tell a story, and I can't tell it as well with 1860s technology as I can with 1920s, 30s technology. Perfect example is you've looked at 10 million Civil War photographs, and that's all documentary photography. Those guys are out there telling a story of dead bodies, of troops marching, of buildings that are resisted, or a bridge or whatever. Do you know of any 1860s photographs that were just taken for the sheer beauty of it? Very few. Yeah. Because
none that I'm aware of.
Yeah, because of the tonal ranges. So when do you start seeing this more picturesque, where people start hanging these on the wall as decoration? Not because they're in a picture, or not because it's their great grandfather, but because, boy, what a beautiful scene. And that happens about 1890s, 1880s, 1890s. Dry plate photography comes out. And then by 1920s, you have pan film, panchromatic film, which is a much wider tonal range. So that's what we think of as black and white. Ansel Adams, perfect example. If Ansel Adams was doing tintypes, nobody would give a shit. Really, nobody would care. They're like, yeah, okay, it's not too bad. But really, he needed that, and he needed that paper print that came from that. He could manipulate things. What I'm doing and what they did back then was they grabbed the scene with the negative, all right? And then, as Ansel Adams used to say, the negative is the notes on the score, the musical score. But the print is the performance. And that's what you have, is just because there's notes there doesn't mean it's going to sound any good until a master can perform it. And that is a master printer. So I'm working with a master printer right now. And we're going to be able to, I think, make some spectacular images. I mean, I know exactly what I want in my head. It's a matter of getting the camera to do that, and then getting the prints to do that. And once
I know what it's like to work with you and being inside of your head.
Oh, I'm terrible. I'm terrible. And it's hard for another creative. You get two creatives, you bump heads.
We didn't do bad, though. We had our moments, but we did pretty good.
You know why, Dustin? Because we respect each other. And that's what it's all about, And working with this guy, Corey, over at Visions, which is, I don't know of any other photo labs in the country that are doing what he's doing. I mean, there used to be a lot. Now there's a handful, and there's a handful of master printers. I mean, he's doing digital prints that some of these photographers sell that are $50,000 for a print. Oh, yeah.
You should see some of my Gettysburg work that I've posted, my photographs. And I was using Dara Gardner's camera, but I took these incredible photos, best photo work I've ever done. I want to send them to this guy and sell a few of them for 50 grand.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's the capture, and then it's the performance, the print, but there's another element. And that's sort of what a lot of this is about. there's the personality behind it.
Mhm.
Andy Warhol would not be selling $100,000 things of Campbell soup if he wasn't Andy Warhol. People would look at it and go, yeah, all right, that's weird, quirky. But because of his personality,
Yeah.
people love the story. You know what I mean? So all of this, being in the truck, the cowboy hat, all this stuff, this is my personality, but that's part of my work also. There is no line between, well, this is Rob's social life, or this is his truck, this is his artwork. No, it's just me, everything, and I think people embrace that. They love the story. They love the adventure. Why was Hemingway so successful? Because he lived like that. He went off on those adventures, He went
That's
to
right.
bullfights. He was in war. And you need that, you need that to be able to convey what it is you're trying to express. And I've been able to do that through my writing now. We're going to be doing this great road trip, and I'll be having a video coming out on it very soon. It's being put together right now. Kyle Meyer, who was from Gettysburg, he actually from Las Cruces, New Mexico. I met him in Gettysburg years ago. He used to hang out at Ragged Edge Coffee House, and he did these great videos for various businesses in town. And I had worked with him a little bit in Gettysburg, but we never really gelled and came together because my project sort of fizzled out, and he was off moving to New Mexico. So when I came back, I looked him up, and he said, you get to Albuquerque, you look me up, you got a place to stay, this and that. So we started talking about doing these videos. He's already done a couple of them for me on the YouTube. We started up a YouTube channel, but he's going to be doing this grand road trip with me. We're going to have a Kickstarter, and this is the way we can afford to do it, because I can't afford to pay Kyle. I could barely afford to keep gas in the truck. But
take a look down here, guys.
We're going to launch this Kickstarter together, and what that will do will pay for Kyle for 10 days on the road with me. It'll pay for both of us being on the road, our gas. He's sleeping in his car, I'm sleeping in here. So it's not like we're going out to 5-star hotels and, Michelin star restaurants. It's tacos and sleeping in the truck. You do what you got to do it. But we're going to go down through Terrazozo. I'm trying to think where else. White Sands we're going to. We're going Truth or Consequences. And then we're gonna go down to Las Cruces, and then I'm gonna turn and we're gonna go to Tombstone. So I'm gonna be doing 36 tintypes along the way, and I'm gonna be doing a journal every day. My journal entries will be in here, and when we get done, there will be a book that is a replica of my journal with all these photographs in it, the tintypes, the stories behind it, and he's going to be getting all this amazing footage on the YouTube channel to be able to follow us along. So by contributing anything, you can watch the YouTube channel, and through various donations, there'll be all kinds of perks. Some of them will be actual prints. Some of them will be the actual tintypes themselves. So they're one-of-one. So I'll be selling those also to raise funds to do this. And this will help, this will certainly help us finance this grand adventure, and it'll probably be the first of many. So what my plans are in the future is stay here in Santa Fe, use it as a base of operations, but then go out to Deadwood, go out to Durango, go out to Jackson Hole, go out to California, the Northeast, and just keep doing
Yellowstone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And doing it not only with tintype, but capturing it with my great big, what I call statement pieces, the big ones you hang above the fireplace, that my master printer does.
You've got to get him to print some of the stuff you did for the work you did on Harriet. Guys, Rob Gibson did photographs for the movie Harriet. And if you have not seen that, guys, it's a great movie. Go check that out. You'll see a lot of Rob Gibson's work in there. You'll also see a cameo and get to see Rob's hand.
Yeah, I think you see my hand.
while he's capturing an image of Harriet and it's fantastic work. Some of the best I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying that because you're one of my best friends. I'm saying it because you really are one of the most talented, people that I know, dude. And, it's always been a pleasure.
And then times I like kick myself in the ass, go, what the hell? This image sucks. And it's, and I have to remember that it's not that I've changed, it's the chemistry. And, then I look at some of the work that was shot on the Gettysburg battlefield by James Gibson, Timothy O'Sullivan, and Alexander Gardner. And there's some on Little Round Top, you go, this is a piece of crap, throw that one away. But they printed everything. And that was the other thing, too, is sometimes the print can save you. I mean, you got a bad negative, but, sometimes you could pull something decent off of it. But you look at some of those photographs, and it looked like some of the stuff I did the first year I learned wet plate. So, it's a hard process. It's so hard to master. And with me making my own stuff, the reason why I do is because when it's right, it's spectacular. But a lot of these guys are just buying their chemicals and, let's put it this way. They'll get this result all the time. Once in a while, my chemistry sucks. It's like, crap. But then when it's great, it's like, holy shit, that's good. So pardon my language, but.
No, you're allowed to say what you want on here, buddy.
But, I mean, and, I swing for the fence every time. You know what I mean? I don't want to just get on base. I want a home run. And
absolutely.
Sometimes you strike out.
You've been that way ever since I've known you, and that you've, like I said, you're an inspiration to me. I'm going to do something for you. I haven't talked to you about this, and it's something that I've been thinking about. I am friends with a gentleman named Steve Leckhart. He's been on my show in the past. He has produced, he's directed the Challenger series on Netflix. And he's a multitude of other programs on Netflix. And I'm going to get you in touch with him. I'm going to literally get you in touch with him. And, he was interested. He contacted me. He was interested in doing a documentary on me for what I was going to do with the Battle of Gettysburg, the reenactment, which COVID absolutely annihilated at this point. But he was interested in that. So I think what you're doing is far more interesting, and I definitely think it'll pique his interest. So I'm going to make that connection between you and Steve.
That's awesome, brother. Thank you.
I want to see if we can get something to come of that, because, dude, what you're doing is really awesome, and people need to see this experience. Because look, let's be honest, we live in a shell here. Okay, in our lives, we get up, we go to work, we do our thing, we come home. It's a routine. We need people like you going out there and living these dreams, these experiences, and sharing them with us, so we can kind of live vicariously through you and your exploits, man. You never know what's going to happen from day to day.
I think the other thing is that people need to realize they can do it. They can do whatever they want to do. It's hard. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I mean, I'm a minimalist now. Did I have this big epiphany that I wanted to get rid of all my stuff? No, I have no place to put it. So I have a little storage unit, has all kinds of personal stuff. Everything else I either sold, gave away, or donated. And I meant camera stuff, printers, computer stuff, clothing, and as I started getting rid of this stuff, I started thinking, this is liberating almost. And Dustin, I always, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be that cowboy that was all by himself on his horse. And he had his little bedroll, and he had his little personal belongings, and he was a stranger that rode into town, and somehow he made an impact on people and he left. Sort of like Kung Fu. Remember him? I mean, he was great, but I always, I don't know, there was something about that mystique of being the stranger in town, and I've embraced that. And you talk about being out of your comfort zone. You walk into not only a bar or a restaurant or a gallery or, wherever where nobody. Imagine walking into a town or a state that nobody, and go, you know what? All right, I'm gonna start making friends. I'll start making contacts. One of my favorite stories, if we got a second to share this.
Plenty of time.
All right. My transmission was going on this, and it was slipping bad. And I would almost ride this thing like it was a manual transmission. It's an automatic. I'd have to get the RPMs up on the gas pedal and then take the foot off the brake and like pop a clutch almost to get rolling. And that's how I'd get going. Well, it was getting worse and worse. And down here at the end of Canyon Road, there's a big parking lot for one of the state buildings. And a guy was telling me, you should go to this Cars and Coffee we have. And, maybe somebody there can help you. So I show up to this event. Now, it looked like the Beverly Hillbillies pulling into Pebble Beach. It was Bentleys, Ferraris, Jaguars, Rolls Royces, Bugattis, Porsches, Aston Martins. I'm not kidding you. All those brands were there. All right. I mean, this is a very, very wealthy town. I mean, I'm surrounded by $1 million houses right now. One of the local guys here that sort of befriended me, he put the word out that I was looking for a transmission. So he was there and he was talking to some friends. Anybody got a Chevy 350 turbo transmission, right? So this guy comes up to me and he has this beautiful knit Irish sweater on and a little cap with a ball on top, like you see at the golf course. And his dog, I think, had a matching sweater, right?
Oh, wow.
And he says, so what's your problem? I says, well, my transmission's gone. He goes, well, why don't you just get it rebuilt? And I said, well, I live in the truck, so I can't have it at a garage for a week or two. He goes, so go to a shop, drop your truck off, go to a hotel, get a room for 2 weeks, and go rent a car for 2 weeks. And I said, dude, we live in two different worlds. I says, your sweater costs more than I'm going to pay for this transmission. And I wasn't lying to him. And he looked at me like, are you kidding me? I'm going, no, I'll figure it out, So the next day, I'm driving in Cerrillos, which is like a ghost town. It's a cool old Western town. It's about 25 miles from here. And it's where they filmed Young Guns. They filmed a lot of John Wayne movies there and all this other stuff. So outside of town, I'm driving up. It's almost like Boot Hill. You're driving up to this old cemetery. And I wanted to photograph some crosses in the mountain there and all that. And I noticed to the right, there was this fenced off yard. And I saw some old panel trucks. I saw an old GMC pickup truck. I saw a Ford Ranchero. So on the way back, I slowed down and I was coming past, and this Native American comes out of his double wide trailer and he waves to me. And I go, that's my guy. I know this is my guy. So I pulled up and I says, is all this yours? He goes, yes. I says, you got some nice stuff here. I says, is that a 1953 GMC? He goes, yes. I says, what's that, like a 63 Ranchero? He goes, yes. I said, you got a turbo 350 transmission? He goes, I have two.
Nice.
I says, well, I'm having problems with this one. He goes, pull in. So I pulled in the yard, right? And introduces himself. So I says, show me your panel truck. So we go walking over and he explains all this stuff about the truck, right? Then he goes over to the Ranchero. He's explaining stuff. Then we walk over to his garage. Now, I've never said a word about this transmission because there's a dance here, and it's called respect. He's sizing me up. I'm sizing him up, and we don't know each other from Adam. I'm some guy off the road from Pennsylvania with with an old panel truck. And then he opens the garage door. Here's big roll-around toolboxes, a welder. So I'm going, yeah, I really got my guy now. And I see this GMC pickup truck with a whole new front end on it, state-of-the-art stuff. And I go, wow, this is some really good work. So then he walks over and he points down, and there's the transmission in there. He goes, this one's better. And there's the other one. I says, it's a really nice transmission. I still didn't say anything about price.
Right.
He looks like towards the mountains and he goes, $100. I go, Jim, that's a bargain. Now these transmissions, I've been looking for them. They go for about $1,200 if they're in decent shape. Right.
Sure.
I says, that's a bargain. I says, I don't need a bargain. I need a miracle. And he looked at me strange. I said, Jim, I'll give you $500 and you and I put this in. and he looked towards the mountain, and his gray hair was blowing, and it's almost like he was waiting for the spirits to talk to him. And he turned back. He goes, "Be here Monday morning, 10 o'clock." Okay, that was it. Monday morning, 10 o'clock. Him and I busted our ass for 2 days, ripped his transmission out, put a new transmission in, tuned the thing up, everything else, turned the key, took off, gave him his cash, and
That's awesome.
Now imagine me going to a shop for 3 weeks, $5,000 later.
And it
was funny at the end. He goes, because he was joking because I was from Pennsylvania. He says, "You're a pretty good mechanic for a Quaker." That's what he called me, was a Quaker. Yeah.
He called
So
you
that
a
was
Quaker.
like the big joke, between him and it. So here's some Native American guy, his family has been here for 800 years in the same land, I'm sure totally, there are a lot of people he won't have nothing to do with. And here's a guy from Pennsylvania, just shows up on his front porch. And 2 days later, him and I are underneath the truck working together, hand in hand, getting something done like that. I mean, that's what this journey's about. If you want to get confident, restore your confidence in mankind. I meet people every day, Dustin. It's just,
absolutely.
People are amazing. They're amazing, the people on the road. And they realize, without each other, we have nothing, and it's all that pay it forward kind of thing, and when you're on the road, you stop, you help. And sometimes that might just be sitting with somebody till a tow truck shows up, or it might be I break out of my tools and I can actually fix what the problem is, and you look like a big hero, So,
and that's incredible, man. Just the opportunities that you have, and as scary as it might be, man, what you're doing is you're living your life, dude. You're living your best life, your dream, and it might not always be easy, but that's where folks like us come in, and we can help Rob out, guys. You look at that down there at the bottom. It's been up the whole show. Go to paypal.com, guys, to tintypeartist@gmail.com. Throw him a few bucks. Help this guy out. You Cash App Journeyman 1934. Anything helps, guys. Really, Rob, sincerely appreciate that.
It's so kind of you. And I'll tell you one thing that this has done for me, Dustin, is I live in the moment. Every day, it's like, all right, what's today going to bring? And of course, I got some things scheduled that I got to work towards. I've got a tintype session I'll be working on. That's going to be very public. It's at a huge farmer's market that on Sundays they convert to an artisan market. So I was fortunate enough to get in there. But for the most part, I'm thinking about right now. That's it. I forgot about the past, and I'm not going to spend time worrying about the future. It's like, okay, what do I got to do to make it through today? What do I got a place to stay tonight? Do I have food to eat? Other than that, yeah, I got gas in the tank. Okay, I'm all right for today. So let's make the day the best possible day. And the other thing is I'm no longer intimidated by anybody or any situation. I'll walk right up to somebody, start a conversation, I've only had 2 bad experiences. And of course, they were always based around being at some bar and you're talking to some woman and some other guy is jealous or something. And that's both experiences, which is weird. And you realize you're at the point where you go, you know what? I have nothing to prove here. I'm not going to get shot. I'm not going to get stabbed. I'll just walk away. In the past, I'd shoot off my mouth and probably have a black eye or something, but you can't do that anymore. You don't know who these people are. You don't know who they know. And, you got to remember, you're going out to your truck that you live in, You can't. I can't have this vandalized or anything else. So
Absolutely.
You just turn and walk away, and it's not worth it. You know what I mean? So
hey, so really quick, guys, listen. If you go to the comment section, you look in there. I just posted the link to the StreamYard. If you guys would like to come in after the show, hang out with Rob for a few minutes, ask some questions, talk with him. Come on in, guys. Hang out with us for a few minutes and get some one-on-one time with Rob. So that link is in the description if you feel like doing that. Again, Rob, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on here, man. It's an hour's already gone by. It's just like, bam, just like that, because your story is so fascinating to me. And look, I pulled this up. I want to share this. this is a project that I worked on with Rob, and it's really some of the best work I've ever done. This is Rob's
Oh gosh, yeah,
motorcycle. And I built that sidecar over there for him. And
that's
all he
right.
did was he gave me a frame, just this frame
Yeah,
to
it
the
looked like a bicycle.
motorcycle. and
A
he
couple
says,
of pipes is all it was.
it was nothing. There wasn't even a wheel on it.
Right.
I think like, this is how it kind of goes. And you're like, okay, I need you to build this. I need it to be kind of chopped. And if you look at the picture, you can kind of see how the roof kind of tilts down. I had to kind of customize all of that and build this thing for Rob. And now I didn't do all the nifty painting and stuff like that on there, but I did get that sidecar built for him. And that was quite a fun project, man. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
And two curved roofs. I don't know how you pulled those off. That was the hardest part. This thing isn't flat. It's got a bow to the roof and a bow to that front cover also. So you did both of those.
Yeah, it was a challenge, and you know what? That's what I really enjoyed. Like when you came to me, like the front needs to have a storage area, the lid needs to open, and it kind of had to follow the contour, and like we had to put a door on the back, and this is a dark room, and I mean, that was probably one of the coolest projects I've ever had the privilege of working on. So thank you for involving me in that, man. That was a good project.
And I'll tell you, and it's funny, Dustin, because talking about the bike. And let's go back. God, I can go back 20 years. Talk about my E-Type Jaguar, my Rat Rod, my 1949 Harley pan shovel that was on the covers of magazines, my BSA World War II. But every time I had one of these projects, and then I would like graduate to the next thing. And, I'm living on a shoestring here, and people would say, you're crazy to sell that. And I'll tell you, I had so many thoughts about selling, that sidecar bike just because of that. And it's like, well, you got to break some eggs if you're going to make an omelet, and every time I graduated up to the next thing, so finally there's no way on God's earth I could have afforded to do this, put this all together, if it wasn't for what you did with that sidecar. And I mean, you're a huge part of this right here, because that's what gave me the funds to do this right here. And if I didn't have that, if I didn't sell it, and that's the thing where some people, they rest on their laurels. They did something great at one time, and they figure, all right, that was it. I can always brag about that one thing. And whether it's some bit part in a movie or something you did, I don't want to take away from what people have done, but I think that's where you start getting old, where you start going, yeah, but I did this. And it's like that old Bruce Springsteen song, Glory Days, about talking about, playing baseball and, and then they sit around the bar and they do nothing else. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They're living glory days, about their past, but they're still alive right now.
That's right.
You could make great memories. Yeah, you can't, play baseball like you did when you were a kid. Of course not. I can't ride a motorcycle cross country, but I can do this, So I think what we do is you have to keep fascinated. You have to keep interest in things. You have to get away from your damn TV set and start experiencing life. Yeah.
That's on my cell phone. Live in the moment. I remind myself every single day, live in the moment. That's it.
That is
exactly my motto.
And you have to, you know what I mean? And it's funny because you called me, and I'll tell you how mismanaged and airheaded I am. I come out of the gym, I look at my phone. Oh, it's Dustin. Oh, here's the link to go on the air, and that happens in half an hour. Oh, crap, I totally forgot about it. It's like, I better go somewhere, park. It's because I'm just thinking about what I'm doing right now. Now, I knew I had this thing coming up a couple days ago. I forgot about it, and that's what I do. That's one of my big downfalls. I'm not a planner. I'm a fly-by-the-seat of your pants kind of guy.
You and me are peas from the same pod, brother. We're cut from the same pod.
I am exactly like that,
Yeah.
But that's also, I think, a lot of ways one of my strong points because I can think on my feet. You give me a crisis, I'll figure it out right away. You want me to plan some big long project? Nah, that's not me. So
I can do that. I can do it. I'm good at it. I'm actually, like doing something like the Gettysburg Civil War reenactment. I thrive in that moment, and I thrive under pressure. Like, I'm very good under pressure. Sometimes, it depends. As I get older, I start to lose a little bit of my patience. I start looking at people like they're stupid. It gets harder for me to hide how I really feel about some people sometimes. But, I as I get older, I realize that, everything's changing. People are changing. Times are changing. Like, attitudes are changing. So I have to kind of change myself too, and try to stop being so affected by the outside and focus on, this is my life, this is my moment, and I need to live inside of that, and try to make the best of what I have here, and run with that. So that's really how I try to live.
A perfect example was today. I was at that coffee shop, and I'm sitting there eating this omelet, drinking my coffee, and my truck's parked right opposite the front window of the place. And I see, I don't know, a man and a woman, and I see this guy maybe in his 40s, 50s, and gets a camera out, and he goes over next to my car. He puts his foot on the running board, and he's posing. Now, in the past, I went, get the hell off there. What's wrong with you? But I thought, you know what? This thing's dusty. It's dirty. It's got dents in it. He's not hurting it. And is it worth giving up my peace to go yell at him, about disrespecting my vehicle? Or, yeah, I get it. If some polished, perfect thing, this isn't. You know what I mean? It's lived in, obviously. And it's like, you know what? He's having fun. Let him go, and that wasn't me even a couple of years ago. This journey has given me more of that sense of calmness, and I don't know, it's almost like a Zen kind of thing where whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and it's not worth getting upset about. But if things are going my way, that's great. And if they're not, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? And thank God for the people that have come to my rescue time and time again. I couldn't start listing them because I'd be afraid I'd leave somebody out. But, there's like, hey, brother, like this morning, I had $8 in my pocket this morning. Now I get a little bit of a retirement from General Motors the first of the month. So here we are at the 29th, 30th. It's not going to hit till Monday. So, some guy was like, hey, brother, here's $100. Somebody else, here's $25. Here's $50. It's like, damn, saved again. Why? Because people believe in what I'm doing. And I think they see a sincerity here where I'm just me out there, and somehow I figure out how to do this, and people enjoy the ride, and then I share it with everybody.
Well, your phone's ringing.
Yeah, I just shut it off. So
no, but now you have a responsibility. In my eyes, you have a responsibility to come up with something really cool. Like I said, I want to get you in touch with Steven and do this. I want him to do a documentary on you. If there's a possibility that he could get something done, anybody can get something done. It's him. This guy's connected very well within Netflix. You. But then also, I'm going to be the first one to read your book, and I want a signed autograph copy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I already know it's going to be something, probably The Journeyman on the Road Less Traveled or something, and I'll tell you, if it wasn't for the people around here that are my good friends, one of them is Freddie. You'll see me refer to him a lot. Freddie Mexico Lopez, great guy. He's native New Mexican, and he makes these great chains. So I'll give him a plug. So
nice.
You can find information, and these are all real silver, and they're hand stamped, and they've got like all this cool Native American stuff going on, these little doodads, and he'll put whatever message you got on there. Like he's got some say gratitude, that kind of thing. But on mine, it says The Journeyman, and on the other side, it says On the Road Less Traveled. So
that's awesome.
And that was a gift from him. That was Harry. I just, and there are people like that all the time that are just constantly gifting me things.
Yeah.
And that again.
Yeah. I heard myself talk on that. I heard myself talk back.
But I think that's, wonderful that people I think they see something that they want to be a part of. You know what I mean? And whether it's a boldness or I don't know, just you get tired of the modern life. And I'll tell you, I've never felt happier and healthier than when I turned the TV off and started doing my own thing and just
Yep.
started experiencing life and
Yep.
stop listening to TV, listening to who I'm supposed to hate, who I'm supposed to be against, who the enemy is.
Yeah.
You know what? We're all the
It wears
same,
you down.
we're all the
Wears you down.
same. And just,
Which is
I can't control what's going on in DC and all. I can't
well,
control the gas prices.
yeah.
So screaming and yelling about it, is it going to help it? No, no.
That's a big reason I decided that I really cannot focus so much on politics. It's I do enjoy talking about politics, and I look at it more like current affairs, current events, and I
Right.
enjoy having those conversations. But it's overwhelming. It's
Yes, it is.
exhausting after a while.
Yep.
So you get to the point where it's just like, and look, a lot of people, depending on what platform, they just don't want to hear it. People just like they want that kept out of their lives. And I completely get that.
Right.
I do, because it
I'll
is
tell you,
totally exhausting.
the number of times that I've gone to DC, and the one thing I always notice is everybody in DC looks like crap. People standing on the street corner, that light changes, they march across the street. They all got badges and keys and bullshit hanging off their neck, of access to whatever. They got briefcases and binders full of papers and crap that they got to work on. And they all look stressed out. They all look like they got hit by a truck. They're a mess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is it? It's stress. We're not meant to live like that. You know what I mean?
No.
And I
live
think
like that every day, though, Rob. I hate my job driving truck. It's like I'm responsible for my children, my house, my family. So it's like I'm miserable in my life in that aspect of it. But I'm happy and grateful for other things. But it's a choice that I make to stay in the situation.
Right. I mean, and the thing is that, and you've got to look at the other side of the coin. My life isn't spectacular every minute of the day. Oh, he's out dancing, he's meeting artists, and he's doing this. And I'm sitting in a freezing truck someday going, what the hell am I doing? It's pouring out. I'm trying to figure out where my next tank full of gas is coming from. I'm looking at my map going, all right, maybe I could make it to here. Maybe there's a chance to make money there. Maybe, So, I mean, I have my kind of stress, which is very different. A lot of people could not live like me. And I hear that all the time where they go, how do you do it? How do you not know that you got money coming in? Well, you know what? I don't, but I just have faith in myself. I have faith in my talents and it's not so much talents. It's resourcefulness is the word, is that I'll figure out some way to make it happen.
That's
but more
true.
than anything, I got faith in God, He put me here for a reason. And for some reason, he gave me this crazy vision where, all right, out of all the people in the world, Rob Gibson, you're the one, you're going to drive cross country in this old shitty truck and you're going to somehow make it happen and you're going to affect people's lives where people go, yeah, I remember that guy, or here's that book and it inspired me to do this or that, or that's what I want to do, or this print that's hanging up in my living room. There's something I feel when I look at that print that's, that just touches my heart, my soul. I want to be that guy that does that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what, dude, you're going to just keep at it, man. Stick doing what you're doing. I have all the faith and confidence in you in the world. This. I'm your biggest supporter, dude. I've been behind you from day one, man, and I have done so much to try to help you because I love and care for you, man. And I really want to see
it's
this
mutual.
happen.
And I feel the same way. I mean, I just I don't want to get too spiritual or religious or whatever, but I had a good friend that's very close to me that just found out he's got some serious health problems he's going through, real serious stuff. And here's a guy with a wife, with kids, great house, worked his ass off his whole life, saving for the future. And, now his whole concern is, am I going to be around to see all that stuff, So nothing is guaranteed. I don't know how much longer I'll be healthy. Right now, I feel better than I have in 20 years. I'm not kidding you. And that's through eating decent, now exercise. but I think a lot of it is stress. I don't have that stress, that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people do. And I think that's why is, if I get stressed out, just start up the truck, go drive out in the desert a little bit, looking around, you go, oh my God, it's like a
Look for
movie
Jimmy
star.
Hoffa.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's beautiful. You know what I mean? It's beautiful out here. And
Mm-hmm.
there's friendly people at every turn. You know what I mean? So I think that's part of the journey also. So
Truly a blessing, man. So, hey guys, we're gonna end this here real quick. Guys, like I said, in the comment section, if you'd like to stick around for a few minutes and have a conversation with Rob and talk just for a few minutes, click that link. We'll bring you in. It's not live. It's just between us and the back office here. So feel free to click that link and jump in and join in and have a conversation with Rob. Hey, Rob, thank you so much for being here, guys. Please go check out consider donating to Rob at PayPal. It's tintypeartist@gmail.com, or go to Cash App, and it's the $ Journeyman 1934. Hey, every little bit helps, and let's support
sure
Rob on
does.
this amazing journey. So if you could do that, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Rob, would love to have you
Dustin,
back sometime.
thank you so much for spreading the love here, getting the word out, and thank you so much for believing in me. You always have, you know what I mean?
Always,
So
always will.
I'm so fortunate, and unfortunately, with a lot of friends these days, you don't get to see them like you want to, and whether it's distance or family or work or whatever. But I truly consider you one of my absolute closest friends and a true brother. So I just want to thank
Appreciate
you
it.
again for not only tonight, but all your support. Since we've met, and it means the world to me. So thank you.
Anytime, brother. All right, stick around, Rob. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. It was a long show. We had a great time. Check us out again, guys, next Friday at 8 p.m. We're going to be, you know what? I don't even know what the hell we're going to talk about. There's a schedule. I don't know what it is. It's off the cuff. That I can tell you. So I appreciate everything you guys do to support us in the show here. I do have a Patreon, guys. Feel free to head over to patreon.com/off the cuff with Dustin Heisey. And any little bit helps us out here, and we do sincerely appreciate that. And it's still under construction. I'm not gonna lie, I have been lazy about getting Patreon, kind of doctored up and looking pretty over there, but I promise I will eventually. So if you could support us, I appreciate that. Again, Rob's information is still up there at the bottom of the screen, guys. It would definitely help, and he sincerely does appreciate that. So also, really quick, guys, head on over to facebook.com. Okay, hit the BB3TV. And like and follow us over there for all types of quality entertainment. We're talking paranormal. We're talking about there's gamers that stream over there, and it's growing every single day, guys. BB3 TV is going to be a powerhouse. Just get in early because you don't want to miss it, guys. It's a great time. So I sincerely thank and appreciate every one of you. God bless you, and I will see you all next week. Take care.